I've got the latest news on Erling Haaland. Could Salah be coming back from AFCON slightly earlier than expected? I've got some news on Jarrod Bowen and whether he will return early. And I've done some thinking about who the best captain is. These are some early thoughts ahead of Game Week 22. Now, some of us might have been expecting Erling Haaland to start in Game Week 21, but unfortunately Pep revealed in his press conference ahead of the game week that he unfortunately got a setback in his recovery from his foot injury. Man City embark on a training camp in Abu Dhabi ahead of the winter break and their next Premier League fixture, which is on the 31st of January against Burnley. The update we got on Haaland was that Pep hopes that he will come back before next month, obviously being February. And with the game being on the 31st of January, that's really the latest it gets in terms of, January dates. So, yeah, if he's hoping by the end of the month that Erling Haaland's going to be ready, I have a feeling that he will be fit for that Burnley game. And what a game that is as well. You got to think if Haaland's fit for that game, he is probably the best captain. Obviously, we'll talk about captaincy later, but really important to keep tabs on him, I think, over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, information will come out before the press conference and, of course, the Game Week 22 deadline. But yeah, it's just important, I think, to keep abreast of the latest news on certain players, with Erling Haaland being the most important, the most important player in FPL at the moment. Now, Jarrod Bowen obviously got injured in the game against Bristol City. There have been some rumours going around about him potentially returning early, and West Ham Central, the Twitter account, posted a quote from the Standard Sport newspaper saying that Jarrod Bowen might be back earlier than expected. I've done a bit of digging into this because this tweet blew up a little bit and a lot of FPL players got carried away with it. But I've looked on the actual Standard website to see exactly where the account got that news from. And it was the update we had ahead of Game Week 21. It was old news, basically. The article stated that Bowen is not set to be back for out for a long time. He's expected to miss one game and be back for the fixture in Game Week 22. Ahead of, they've got a cup replay against Bristol City on Tuesday, tomorrow, when this video gets uploaded. I'm actually going to that game, so I have a vested interest in it. That's why I kind of found out about that news. The assistant manager for West Ham definitely ruled out Bowen and Paqueta for that game. So he's not fit at the moment. I think still question marks as to whether he plays against Sheffield United. He does have a fantastic injury record. And when you look at the fixtures they've got, Sheffield United on the 21st of January and then Bournemouth on the 1st of February, I've always believed there is a chance that he'll be back for that Sheffield United game. I actually started him in my FPL team over Archer. I think most likely he's back for Bournemouth. I don't think West Ham will take any chances. Has picked up a couple of niggles this season. In previous years, he went relatively injury-free pretty much his entire career. So I do think they'll be a bit cautious about him, particularly with the game being against Sheffield United. And I do think he'll probably be back for the Bournemouth game. But just to dispel the rumour from that tweet from West Ham Central, I'll bring it up again. It's not necessarily true. I think Bowen is going to miss the next game week and be back for Game Week 22. Next up, I've got some interesting info on Mo Salah. With the AFCON playing out a little bit now, we've had a bit of chance to understand how teams look and how likely they are to win the tournament based on how they've been playing. Now, I've regularly popped up the table from Rob T FPL on Twitter telling us when players are likely to come back from their respective international tournaments, depending on when they get knocked out. He's now very kindly included some, probability odds of how far teams will get. And he's included, obviously, the game weeks that they're set to come back and go out and for each team, basically. And when you look at Egypt, they're most likely to exit in the round of 16 quarterfinals. And you can see he's included the stats here. So what they've got, a 39% chance of being back by at least Game Week 23 and a 65% chance of being back for Game Week 24. So realistically, it looks like, there's a 65% chance, according to the bookies odds, that Salah will be back for Game Week 24. That means, realistically, we're going to miss 3 weeks of Mo Salah, and he's going to be back in the game in time for the Liverpool, hopefully, the Liverpool double in Game Week 25. That's not confirmed yet. Ben Crellin, however, himself has said Liverpool are fairly likely to get a double in 25. So, yeah, remains to be seen how that all plays out. But yeah, it looks like Salah probably be back for sort of Game Week 24 time. And obviously Liverpool likely to have a double game week in 25. And finally, I know we're not at Game Week 22 yet, and probably there's going to be a lot that happens before the deadline itself. But I thought it'd be interesting just to have a chat about who I think the best options are for captaincy. And I've used my two favourite sources and websites, FPL tools if you like, to help me understand that. And if you look on the left, we've got Draft Hound, a tool I use regularly to show expected points totals. And on the right, we've got FPL Review. Draft Hound actually have Foden as the top player in Game Week 22 for expected points. Burnley at home, obviously, a very favourable fixture for Man City. And you can see lots of players, well, Man City players on that list there, expected to keep a clean sheet and score a fair few goals. So the standard names are up there. Ake and Walker, the two sort of Man City defenders. Foden, Alvarez and Bernardo up there as well. Cole Palmer, I think, is a shout week on week, really. Although I would say the fixture, Liverpool away, is a tough one. But given how he's been performing, I wouldn't be surprised if he got an attacking return in that one. A couple of Arsenal assets up there as well, with Forest away, although they're not massively dangerous, I would say, at the moment, Arsenal, for scoring goals. And then Watkins with Newcastle at home on there as well. When you look at FPL Review, they're actually predicting Haaland to start. Obviously, Draft Hound are not, so he's not appearing on the list. They've got him as the top player for expected points with 7.6. Expected to play around 75 minutes. The good thing about FPL Review is you can adjust the minutes. So if you think Haaland's going to play 90 minutes, obviously those expected points go up a little bit. In second place is really interesting. They've got Eze, Richarlison's up there as well. De Bruyne, Trent, Bowen, if he's fit, he's one of the top players for expected points in Game Week 22. And Watkins is up there as well on FPL Review. I just thought it'd be interesting to share the info from my two favourite, expected point sources in the game. All right, and that's the end of the video. I thought it'd be useful just to show you a bit more news and updates in the FPL world, just to keep you ticking over with some FPL content. If there's any more things you'd like me to cover before the Game Week 22 deadline, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating, subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be just there, and I'll catch you in my next video.